Anthony Weatherspoon was the ideal fullback. When the University of Colorado football team switched from a pro-style offense and leaned into the run-heavy wishbone, he was the kind of player who fit it perfectly.
Spoon was about 6 feet, maybe 6'2" with the afro, about 250.
Lance Carl was one of Spoon's Buff teammates.
He grew up in La Habra, California, came here, could have gone probably anywhere in the country at the time, but loved Coach McCartney, loved Coach McCartney's message like so many of us did.
And the fans absolutely loved him. Every time he touched the ball, you could hear the crowd chanting, "Spoon!" And they got plenty of chances to do it. In 1985, he led the team in rushing yards and then followed that up in 1986 as the Buffs' second leading rusher.
Just a wonderful person, wonderful teammate, and, tragedy that he was taken so soon.
But that tragedy changed everything. It brought the Colorado Buffaloes together in a way nothing ever had before.
This is the Big Stories Podcast, where we tell the amazing and inspiring stories from across the Big 12 Conference.
I'm your host, Cleon Wall. The phrase Buffs for Life can mean a lot of different things. On the surface, it's simple. If you went to CU, you will always be a Colorado Buffalo. But for some former Colorado football players, that phrase goes deeper. For them, Buffs for Life means standing by the guys and gals they battled alongside on the field or court long after their playing career ends. And it means being there for their families, too. So let's dive in. Lots of old-timey football fans, like myself, always remember the best plays from our favorite teams. So if you are a CU football fan above the age of 50, you will recall running back O.C. Oliver's 52-yard halfback pass to Lance Carl against third-ranked Nebraska on October 25th, 1986.
Oliver threw a beautiful pass. I led the team in receiving, I think, with 13 catches that year. So every time we had a pass play, you want to relish that opportunity.
That score gave CU a 17-7 lead, and it was all part of a statement win. A 20-10 victory over the Cornhuskers. And here's why it mattered so much. It was the Buffs' first win in that rivalry since 1967.
A lot of people attribute that game to kind of turn the fortunes of the program around. It was a perfect play at the perfect time. And it turned out to be a perfect day for us. To bring joy to those fans and also joy to the student body, there's nothing like it.
Lance has felt just about every kind of joy you can experience inside the stands at Folsom Field. First as a player, then as a Buffs coach, and now as one of CU's associate athletic directors.
Happy to be home and happy to support student athletes on their journey through CU and beyond CU.
Lance backing athletes well after they've left CU might be one of his favorite jobs and traces back to Anthony Weatherspoon. As we mentioned, the former fullback wasn't just a fan favorite, he was one of the most respected and beloved teammates in that locker room, too.
Gregarious. Whenever he saw you, he gave you a bear hug.
Another former teammate once said Spoon had a brilliant smile, and honestly, every photo I've seen of him proves it. Those pearly white teeth were always on display. After football, Spoon went back home to California where he built a career as a financial advisor. Life was good until it wasn't. He felt off. Doctors diagnosed him with myelodysplastic syndrome, MDS, a rare blood disorder. Over time, it turned into leukemia. The news hit his former teammates hard. That's when former CU football player and coach John Embry decided to do something about it.
John said, hey, let's form a foundation. We'll call it Buffs for Life, and we'll support student athletes in need.
Buffs for Life was formed in 2005. Their first order of business, support the Weatherspoon family as Anthony's medical bills began to skyrocket. Anthony passed away later that year. Before he died, he said, God blessed me with MDS, so there must be a reason for me having it. And maybe, just maybe, one of those reasons was so Buffs for Life could begin.
We didn't want to be defined as just a football organization or a football foundation. And, we have a thing here, one of the words in our fight song is shoulder to shoulder. And so We want to stand shoulder to shoulder with all student athletes, past, present, future, whoever they may be, to understand that you're part of the family. You're part of the Buffs4Life family.
The foundation is built around 4 main pillars: family dynamics, mental wellness, career support, and physical well-being. Career support is pretty straightforward. If a former Buff needs help finding work, they step in and help open doors.
We have a partnership with a company out of Boston called the Shift Group.
The Shift Group caters to the needs of ex-military members and ex-athletes.
And they've got partnerships with up to 500 companies across the country where those companies are looking for those 2 types of people to work in their companies. Veterans and athletes share some things in common, team dynamics, selflessness, discipline, all those things.
Mental wellness moved to the forefront after the deaths of former Buffs Drew Walrus and Heisman Trophy winner Rashaan Salaam, both of whom died by suicide.
Stewart pitches it to Salaam. Buffalo score. Touchdown.
Rashaan Salaam, he's a beacon of light and, has so much promise in his life. What we wanted to do is kind of focus our efforts and let our alumni know that, we understand what's going on out there. We see what's going on, and we want to be that support system for you.
Lance and others can point their brothers toward professional mental health resources when deeper help is needed. But they also know this: they won't know someone struggling unless there's a conversation. That's why the outreach matters so much. Regular texts, phone calls, just checking in, letting guys know they're not forgotten and they're not alone.
I talk openly about what I'm going through. And the more you can express how you're feeling, the more impactful you can be towards those in your peer group. Because if they hear you talking about it, it may open them up to talking about it.
Lance believes former Buffs are more likely to trust and confide in other Buffs. Each pillar has its own focus, whether that's family dynamics or physical well-being. Buffs4Life helps connect families with counseling resources, and it encourages former CU athletes to stay proactive about their health. Regular wellness checks, prostate exams, colonoscopies, all of it. But where the real impact happens is when those pillars overlap. It's what happened with the Weatherspoons and Mike and Debra Spivey.
Mike and I met in a little church on the northeast side of Denver.
Mike was a minister at the church when he asked Debra out for a date. In March of 2008, he took her to a basketball game, and somewhere during that night, he made his intentions clear. He told Debra he wasn't just looking to date, he was looking for a wife.
I told him, I said, you're not wasting our time, didn't you?
They ended up getting married that September, but somewhere along the way, Debra learned something Mike didn't reveal when they first met. Turns out, he used to play in the NFL.
And he asked me if I liked the Broncos. And I said, yeah, I'm a Bronco fan. He said, I used to play for the Raiders. I said, so? I don't like the Raiders. They play dirty.
She also learned that Mike had served as a team chaplain for the Denver Broncos and also for his alma mater, the University of Colorado. Debra remembers turning to her mother and asking,
He was this man I married because we would go to the family weekends up in Boulder, and the young man would come up, and these were active NFL players, and they would tell me how much he helped them.
Eventually, old Buffs would help him and his wife. You see, Mike was diagnosed with cancer in 2013, but for years, life went on much the same. He continued preaching, continued showing up, continued living day to day, right up until 2021.
It metastasized on his bones, and he had to go through a surgery, and they put a rod in his femur. And it seemed like after they did that, things went downhill.
Debra believes Mike's former teammate, Jim Kelleher, alerted Buffs4Life to their situation, and they stepped in. After severe Colorado hailstorms damaged their roof, Debra couldn't afford the insurance deductible. Buffs4Life helped cover it.
So all of a sudden, I'm getting a check from Buffs4Life that totally took care of that deductible. And that was such a blessing.
Then a group of former Buffs rolled up their sleeves and got to work. They showed up at Mike and Debra's house to pull weeds, clear rocks, replace the ground cover in her garden, and fix a broken fence.
It was really wrong to me. I couldn't believe it.
Buffs4Life even stepped in to help with some of her bills after Mike passed away.
It was such a blessing for them to come in and be able to help me financially like that.
Sandra Adams, one of Debra's closest friends, also found support through Buffs4Life. Sandra's daughter, Sharika, was pregnant with the son of former CU football star Ray Caruth when she was shot. Sharika died from her injuries, but her baby survived after an emergency C-section. Her son, Chancellor Lee Adams, was deprived of oxygen before birth and was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Chancellor faced the loss of critical financial assistance, support he depended on for ongoing physical, occupational, and speech therapy.
Especially after Chancellor turned 18, we would not have been able to continue all of those services because our Medicaid no longer paid for it. And the Buffs stepped right up. And without the generous support from all of the people who give generously to Buffs4Life, we could not have continued those therapies. And Chancellor has gone from using the wheelchair to a walker to using almost no help at all.
We've served over, probably 100 student athletes at some point and their families, and up to the tune of between $1.5 and $2 million.
Some of that money also goes toward college scholarships for the children of Buffs who've passed away. Most of the funding comes from two major fundraisers. One of them is the Kyle McIntosh 5K Fun Run.
He's a track and field athlete who died of cancer. The fun run benefits him and his family. And then there's every year there's kind of a Buff in need that needs some support as well.
Lance, along with many former Buffs, also comes together each year for a golf tournament that raises money for Buffs in need. And starting next year, they'll add another milestone event to the calendar, their very first gala.
Represents everything we've done, invite everybody we've supported back, and make a point to, show gratitude to our donors who've supported us over the years as well.
And what a reunion that will be, as Debra and so many others get the chance once again to say thank you. Thanks to the people who showed up, who gave their time, their money, and their hearts to help someone else when it mattered most.
They are a symbol of hope for so many. And I know everybody has different beliefs, but they represent what Christ intends for mankind to be. They represent what Christ would represent. They represent love, sharing what people should be.
If you'd like to learn more about Buffs4Life, or if you'd like to support their work, you can find them online at buffs4life.org. Our thanks to Buffs4Life for sharing the soundbite from Sandra Adams, and thanks as well to ABC and ESPN for the game highlight. This episode was produced by Brandon Thorpe. Music and sound design came from Jimmy Call and BYU Radio's post-production team. We'll be back soon with more inspiring and amazing tales from around the Big 12. Big Stories is a production of BYU Radio.